Thank you. What I'd like to do now is introduce Rick Cole, who's sitting in the front row here. As Marianne mentioned, we've formed this partnership with Royal Roads University. I've had the good fortune to know Rick for many years, and is highly respected for his ability to work with others, young people, old, no matter what age. He's an inspiration and has always held that vision of bringing people together for the best. It's a quality which is a natural to Rick Cole. We are very fortunate that he's going to be part of this team, and I'm going to call upon Rick to make a few observations. And basically, Rick is at Royal Roads University, and he's in the School of Environment and Sustainability. But it'd be good for him to give his perspective on how he sees this initiative that we are working collaboratively on. Rick.
Right. Thank you, Eric. So, of course, it's always dangerous to give a professor a chance to talk for 40 minutes. But I just have to, I'm not really, I've just stepped into this. I'm a person who feels that the world always asks us to say yes to things. And so when Eric and Marianne and Pedro, Dean of Faculty Management at Royal Roads, asked me if I would be involved in this, my natural response is to say yes. So here I am, even if I don't know much about it. So I'm a teacher. Okay, I've been a teacher for a long time. I realize deep down that's who I am. And the idea of teaching that I really like comes from a great English Edwardian gentleman, philosopher named Alfred North Whitehead. And Whitehead says the process of learning, he calls it a rhythm, is a rhythm of romance, precision, and generalization. We fall in love with things. I used to do research on dinosaur locomotion, and I'd go out and give hundreds of talks around the province, and there'd always be a little gang of kids in the front row at the museum in the evening, not there to hear Rick Cole, the expert, but there to hear Rick, their colleague, because we talk about dinosaurs, because they've fallen in love with dinosaurs. The second stage is precision. When we fall in love with things, we're willing to learn the details. No one forced these little children to learn about dinosaurs. They just love them. And the final stage he talks about in this rhythm of learning is generalization, where we take what we love, we take this knowledge, and we now generalize it out to learn and fall in love with new things. I see this project with CABI somewhat in a similar way. There's an interest in imagining a 50-year vision for Vancouver Island. That's going to happen initially because of romance. Part of the task Eric has already spoken about is the task of convening people to come and talk about this. And those are people who are going to love Vancouver Island. First of all, it's going to be the First Nations, because they have the longest and deepest love of this place, up and down both coasts and through the middle. But other people love it too, from the loggers that I used to live with when I was a high school teacher in Ucluelet in the 70s, to the tree huggers that I used to live with also when I was a high school teacher in Ucluelet in the 1970s. Part of this convening effort to achieve a vision for Vancouver Island is to bring together not just your friends, but to bring together strangers and opponents, people who don't want to sit with each other, who haven't ever been able to sit with each other, and find a process to do that. That's the convening, that's the romance, the love. The precision that Whitehead talks about, I think, relates here as well. The precision is trying to figure out what is going on. I think that's always our challenge in almost any setting, is to, maybe some of you remember the Marvin Gaye song from Motown, What's Going On? I think it's the theme song for almost everything that I do. And sometimes I even play it in the background. So, what's going on? And that means really looking critically at how we all understand what's going on. Because before we can come up with a vision that many of us will be able to buy into, we really need to understand what's going on. And that's precision. And that's objective and hard-nosed and clear-eyed and as much as possible kind of shed of our ideological orientations, try to figure out what's going on. And if we can do that, if we can bring both our friends, and strangers, and others, opponents even, to a table out of love, and if we can really look at stuff really carefully and consider what does this reality mean, then we might be able to do this generalization, this vision of, well, okay, so what are options for what could be? And I would see some kind of a process that will begin to talk about with all of these folks and hopefully all of you folks, but we'll start with a little, modest student project at Royal Roads to look at that kind of a process of who needs to be convened, what tools can we use for understanding what is in order to give us the ability to say what could be, because that's what we're trying to do. So is that sufficient?
That's great.